Beyond Wrestling. This is Denver, Colorado, the man, not the place. Here we are, episode 6, All Killer, starting things off a first-time singles encounter between Sugar Dunkerton and JT Dunn. Now keep in mind, just a couple months ago at the Swamp Session studio taping, it was Sugar Dunkerton teaming with Aaron Epic, the remaining members of the KOA, against JT Dunn and Mark Shurman. Of course, at that time, they had John Harder in their corner. That's not an option now, because Team Tremendous defeated the Professional Revolution just a couple of weeks ago at the All Aboard live event in Long Island, New York, forcing the Professional Revolution to disband. No sign of John Harder or Leon St. Giovanni this weekend. I think JT Dunn is going to use this opportunity to perhaps turn over a new leaf. I mean, every time JT Dunn steps foot in between those ropes, we know he gives it 100%. Especially the fans of Beyond Wrestling in Bridgewater, Massachusetts. They've really got behind JT Dunn, but Dunn still has a long way to go to prove himself to the other wrestlers here at Beyond Wrestling. He's going to be trying to do that today, starting off against Sugar Dunkerton. And Dunkerton not in the best of spirits, usually positive vibes all the way. But Sugar Dunkerton was embarrassed a couple weekends ago, also at the All Aboard live event, when it was Eric Corvis and Mike Quest, the Garden State Gods, challenging KOA to an impromptu tag match and coming out on top. Of course, Aaron Epic not able to join us for the All Killer tapings this weekend, so Sugar Dunkerton's going to be going at it alone. Now we see Dunkerton with Dunn to the mat, a variation of the hammerlock, and just trying to pressure that knee into the ribs. Almost like a version of an abdominal stretch at this point, with pressure applied to the arms as well, making it that much more difficult to escape the hold. But sure enough, JT Dunn able to take Dunkerton down to the mat chest first himself. And now it looks like JT Dunn might be going for the same hold. Going for that right arm. And once again, just as we saw Dunkerton do just a few seconds ago, it's JT Dunn now bending Sugar Dunkerton. A little bit of a different position. Dunn not focusing as much on the abdomen. And as a result, as Dunkerton looks for an escape, JT Dunn able to butterfly the arms and keep him face first down on the mat. Dunkerton unable to find a counter. And JT Dunn was very quick to break that hold once the referee interjected himself. You gotta think that if John Harder was barking orders from ringside, Dunn would have held that hold on for another few seconds. Dunkerton tying up with JT Dunn. Sweeping out the leg, bringing Dunn down to the mat. Now going to attack the leg. He's got that step over toe hold. And almost like a kneeling version of the figure four. Sugar Dunkerton applying pressure on the legs using his free hand before turning it over to a cloverleaf variation. He's got Dunn all tied up right here. Dunn trying to find an escape. And Sugar Dunkerton, very rarely do we see him as the aggressor. But that's his MO today, coming into the All Killer tapings. JT Dunn, to his credit, able to find an escape, now transitioning from that waistlock to a full Nelson. Not sure if this is the best position that he wants to try and utilize this maneuver. There you see he's having difficulty clasping his hands. Dunkerton again getting to the ropes. This is the second time that we've seen JT Dunn possibly having Dunkerton's number. Again, Dunkerton needs to forget about what happened with Corvis and Quest a couple weeks ago. He needs to concentrate on the task at hand. That's JT Dunn. There we see the headband coming off. And now Sugar Dunkerton, who is an underrated striker in his own right, letting cooler heads prevail, at least for the time being. So these two tie up once again. JT Dunn allowing for that clean break.
Also, you clean break once or twice, and you're supposed to be a new leaf, right? Not buying it.
Sugar Dunkerton's not buying it. And again, I mean, Corvis really changing his disposition. Really a lot of pent-up anger, which all came to a head at All Aboard. You can understand why Dunkerton, perhaps a little bit skeptical. Being in the ring there with JT Dunn, and it's actually Dunkerton taking the cheap shot. Dunkerton has just become obsessed with winning, especially after suffering a couple tough defeats. I mean, him and Aaron Epic have been very successful as a tag team outside of Beyond Wrestling. The KOA taking the Beyond Wrestling banner across the country. But as a singles competitor, Sugar Dunkerton really looking to prove himself. I think JT Dunn has had more opportunities to do that in Beyond Wrestling recently. So you definitely got to think that that's going to factor in. That's why we're seeing this more aggressive side out of Sugar Dunkerton. Now bringing Dunn down to the mat, driving a couple knees to the spine. And catching him with that European uppercut, diving. The small back of JT Dunn. Dunn's out at 1. As I was alluding to earlier, I think that Sugar Dunkerton is a very underrated striker, but there are very few on the roster that are as keen at striking as JT Dunn. Sugar Dunkerton just trapping the arms of Dunn, no way for him to protect himself. A couple shots to the back of the head, and now just rubbing his face into the mat. Gotta say, I'm really surprised with what I'm seeing so far. You hear Mark Shurman asking Sugar Dunkerton what his problem is. And while Shurman did not physically interject himself into the match, he did allow an opening for JT Dunn, but I mean, JT Dunn trying to fight off the mat, and one boot shutting him down. Now Sugar going for that pin. Instead of hooking the leg, placing that forearm across the face of JT Dunn, showing his opponent no respect, just as Dunn had showed no respect to Dunkerton just a couple months ago. Now Sugar Dunkerton trying to keep JT Dunn grounded. And Mark Shurman trying to get the support of the other wrestlers. I think that's going to be easier said than done. Sugar Dunkerton just striking wildly at the face of JT Dunn. Of course, JT Dunn, an excellent showing. The Young Lions Cup qualifier in Everett, Massachusetts for Jaka earlier this summer. Now that he's on his own, without John Harder calling the shots, JT Dunn could really use a big win here over Sugar Dunkerton. Here, a couple of the wrestlers are on ringside chanting for JT Dunn, but I think a lot of them don't know what to make of this. Honestly, I'm a little bit surprised too. This is a side of Sugar Dunkerton we very rarely see. Now that textbook backdrop suplex, driving JT Dunn back down to the mat. He's not done. Instead of going for a pin, here's Sugar Dunkerton saying, we got to do another one. I mean, Dunn having trouble standing on his own. And Sugar calling for the encore. Once again, planting JT Dunn back first. The center of the ring, the leg is hooked. This could do it right here. Dunn's kicking out. So far, very, very methodical pace out of Sugar Dunkerton. As a result, he has not made any mistakes. Ooh, that's a bit of a cheap shot, don't you think? And a lot of trash talking out of Sugar Dunkerton, too. Now he's got that arm trapped. Perhaps going for a sleeper. If he's going to be able to grapevine the legs, this could be it for JT Dunn. Mark Shurman trying to breathe life into JT Dunn. Sugar, very smart to trap that free arm. Dunn's going to have to use his left arm to try and get to the ropes, finally able to free it from underneath Dunkerton's knee. But instead of trying to reach that bottom rope, he's trying to release the hold. Dunn quickly fading right here. And there you see Dunkerton letting go of the arm so that the referee can check to see if he's out. Dunn's eyes are closed. Sugar Dunkerton might have done himself in, yelling at JT Dunn, talking all that smack. That could have woken him up. And now Mark Shurman successful in rallying the other wrestlers. Is Dunn going to be able to find his second win here? Trying to find that separation, connects with that jawbreaker. But as he was going for that kick, Dunkerton just bum rushed him into the corner. Oh! Dunkerton with about a half a dozen clotheslines. JT Dunn nowhere to go. Oh, and he just killed him with that last one. Dunn's out in the corner. Shurman is concerned, and rightfully so. Sugar Dunkerton, though, one in his mouth one too many times. Dunn once again finding the mark on the chest of Dunkerton with that boot. But a little too late. Dunkerton's out of the way, but so is Dunn. And here comes JT Dunn. A clothesline, following up that back elbow. And just jumping in with that diving forearm in the corner. And finally able to catch him with that pump kick. Able to take Dunkerton off his feet. I don't know if that was the knockout shot that he was hoping for. Dunkerton's on it too. JT Dunn trying to shake the cobwebs right here. Oh! Just caught him right in the back of the head. Little retribution from earlier. Take another look at that. You want to talk about a knockout blow. The only thing that could have saved Sugar right there is a little bit of a cushioning from that afro. But he got caught good. Right where the back of the skull meets the base of the neck. And JT Dunn just sizing up Sugar Dunkerton. I don't know, this could be a mistake. Going for that pump kick once again. This time he got caught. Punched right in the face. Oh! And the arm clasp backdrop driver right on his head. All impact. But Dunn proving, just demonstrating, showing exactly why the fans of Beyond Wrestling have been getting behind him in the previous months. Really digging deep, showing that heart. And you know, goes back to what I was saying when he originally joined up with the Professional Revolution over a year ago. When you see a competitor as skilled, as gifted as JT Dunn, it's so disappointing when they take shortcuts, when they try and find that easy ride to the top. Hard work pays off. I think, if anything, this match has proven just that, as JT Dunn turning Dunkerton inside out, flipping him over with that slam. Oh, that was close. I thought he had him right there. Perhaps if he was able to land that maneuver right into the pin, he wouldn't have wasted those extra couple of seconds having to crawl over for the pin. But that flipping slam, there was a lot of impact on that. Now JT Dunn, perhaps channeling the person that he credits as his mentor, Dave Cole, who he will be facing tomorrow. Dave Cole has not announced who his partner is for the Charade Charity Chowdown. But I'll tell you what, JT Dunn chowing down on a lariat right there, and that's enough for Sugar Dunkerton to pick up the win. Turning JT Dunn inside out. Certainly a hard-fought victory. You're going to wonder if Sugar Dunkerton wasn't talking so much trash. He might have been able to put Dunn away a little bit earlier in this match, but man, he really killed him with that clothesline. If those shots in the corner just a few minutes ago were vicious, that was damn near criminal.
I win, you lose. Come on, man. You don't leave this, man.
Dunkerton not letting it go. Getting his hand raised in victory, moving up to plus 4 points. And even though Dunn has lost, he's still looking to extend his hand. This is something that John Harder would never allow. Well, it certainly seems like he has more support from the wrestlers, even in defeat coming into this match, than he did.
JT, awesome match. I give you all the credit in the world. You're still a loser. Come on. And you're still a scumbag. It's going to take a lot more than that.
Well, Sugar Dunkerton saying it's going to take a lot more than one match. Honestly, after the heinous acts of the Professional Revolution over the last year and a half, I honestly can't say that I blame him.
6 months of that crap with the Professional Revolution. Seems like everybody's got an edge. I'm finding mine. Call me Adam Cole.
Sugar Dunkerton saying that he's going to be finding his edge. Targeted by the Professional Revolution for the last 6 months. But a great effort from JT Dunn, even in defeat. And you hear the applause from the other wrestlers. Could have gone either way a few times. Sugar Dunkerton picking up the victory. Hopefully this will not discourage JT Dunn. Here we go. Chris Dickinson's return to Beyond Wrestling. This is Chris Dickinson's first match for Beyond Wrestling in about a year and a half, if you don't count the one-off match against Johnny Mangway in May. And this is a very, very different Chris Dickinson that we see right now that we saw in May. He's about 40 pounds heavier. Almost all of that is muscle. Testing the waters with the match with Johnny Mangway back in May, realizing in defeat that he was nowhere near at the level he once was at Beyond Wrestling. But now he's back. The question is he better than ever? He's going to be going up against one of the biggest and strongest competitors on the Beyond Wrestling roster in Mark Shurman. Unfortunately, Mark Shurman also one of the least experienced. Mark Shurman in Beyond Wrestling for about a year's time now. A very strange charisma, a very magnetic personality. But he's going to be careful because Chris Dickinson is very dangerous. I'm going to try and think, how many other wrestlers on the Beyond Wrestling roster are as big as Mark Shurman? Maybe Bill Carr, maybe TJ Marconi, maybe the Usurper. Mark Shurman certainly with the height advantage over Dickinson, but Dickinson has been powerlifting in his time off. That impressive physique is not all show. There you see just taking Mark Shurman right down to the mat. Strapping on that front face lock. And as Shurman tries to find a counter, just being out-wrestled right here by Chris Dickinson. I think Chris Dickinson is going to be looking at this as a warm-up match going into tomorrow's contest with Anthony Stone at the Charade Charity Chowdown. But if he's able to manhandle an opponent the size of Mark Shurman, just think of what he's going to be able to do with Anthony Stone. Stone's certainly got his work cut out for him tomorrow. And Dickinson just basically smothering Mark Shurman right here, keeping him pressed down to the mat. Shurman having to expend the energy just to keep that shoulder off, able to switch the position, but it looks like Dickinson's still in control. Shurman's smart here. I don't think Dickinson can do too much damage from this position. There you see Dickinson grinding his foot in the side of the head. Mark Shurman, and Shurman's quick to get up to his feet to protect themselves. Now Dickinson just mocking him. Shurman saying that he's pissed. I mean, perhaps Dickinson will awaken something in Shurman that we have yet to see, that intensity. Something that John Harder was unable to bring out of him. You hear Chris Dickinson saying, "Do you trust me?" We're going to shake hands with Mark Shurman. If JT Dunn did not earn the respect of Sugar Dunkerton in that last contest, I have a hard time believing that Chris Dickinson respects Mark Shurman after that exchange. Chris Dickinson, even on one knee, you obviously saw that he was planning on following up with an attack. You hear Mark Shurman asking if he's a dummy. Get a pen and a pad and write it down. Mark Shurman is no dummy. Certainly a little bit spooked being in the ring with Chris Dickinson. Such an intimidating presence. Monolithic. He's back and he's bigger than ever. Dickinson does not seem too intimidated by his opponent, though. Certainly with the psychological advantages, these two tie up once again. Shurman's trying to fight him off, but just getting powered into the corner. Referee getting in between the two. Now Dickinson pushing Shurman. Shurman firing back. And Dickinson in a blind rage comes charging into the corner. Caught with a clubbing blow across the shoulder blades. Comes running to that boot. And look at the power from Shurman, exploding off that second rope with a flying shoulder tackle. And it's Dickinson for the first time in this contest having a retreat. Again, Dickinson has not competed regularly for almost 2 years. It was in April of 2011 that he injured his knee at a WXW show. Shurman trying to fight Dickinson, But Dickinson bringing Shurman to the floor, just slapping him in the ear. A deafening shot. Oh, just kicking him right in the kidney. Dickinson doesn't need to utilize the outside to do damage. This guy's a legitimate martial artist his entire life. Something that you forget is as strong as he is, just unbelievable precision with all of his strikes. Oh! Just rocking Shurman with that European uppercut. And lighting up the chest with that chop. Shurman down on his knees. Trying to fight back to his credit. Dickinson going low. And another European uppercut. Shurman might be out on his feet. Oh, a karate chop right to the neck. Very unorthodox offense. Not the type of maneuvers that you normally see in a professional wrestling contest. Again, Chris Dickinson training harder than ever. Unable to get out of the way of the big body splash from Mark Shurman. Shurman charging in again. Now planting the boot in the midsection. Looked like Shurman was going to whip Dickinson across the ring, but looking to punish him more in the corner. Able to fire off 10 of those shots. Sizing up Dickinson and just taking him down with that Polish hammer. Dickinson's on it too. Of course, Chris Dickinson making his return at the All Aboard live event where he was going to be the special guest referee for the match between TJ Marconi and Darius Carter. When we saw him at the Burst the Bubble live event, to his credit, he called it down the middle. But it looked like he was using the last man standing match between Marconi and Carter as an excuse to pick his spot, to make his return to Beyond Wrestling, shredding that kendo stick over TJ Marconi's head, and being in the ring with an opponent the size of Mark Shurman. You've got to think that Chris Dickinson is using this match to prepare for his inevitable encounter with Marconi. And you see Marconi sit in front row, eyes glued to the action. It was Chris Dickinson that cost Marconi his match against Eric Corvis at the last episode of All Killer. Things really heating up between those two competitors. But you never know it. Chris Dickinson totally focused on Mark Shurman. Just picking him apart. How much more punishment can Shurman withstand? Now Dickinson just challenged Shurman, asking him if that's it. Just eating every blow, but I think he got caught with that one. Dickinson staggered. And Shurman looking to capitalize. A drop kick enough to take Dickinson off the mat. Shurman smart to roll him away from the ropes. But as Dickinson kicks out, he's got that inverted head scissors. And rather than trying to get Shurman to pass out, he's trying to crank the neck to get him to tap out. Very unusual hold. Not sure if Shurman's going to have an escape for it. Trying to roll Dickinson up onto his shoulders. Dickinson not even breaking the hold. Really slowing things down right here. Shurman left that arm vulnerable. Dickinson changing it up. Trying to go to a more advantageous position. And he's back to the corner. Oh, now just that overhand strike. Now going for that stretch plum. Just pulling away at the face of the neck of Mark Shurman. This hold a little bit different than a dragon sleeper. You see, instead, it's more of a face lock with the pressure applied across the jaw. At least that's how it's intended. Shurman may be too big to apply this hold to. That's a maneuver that I've never seen before on a Chris Dickinson. So certainly using this match to experiment with this offense going forward, seeing what works and what doesn't work. I'll tell you what doesn't work. That's Mark Shurman trying to hit a crossbody because he got punked out of midair and just dumped with that Death Valley driver. How strong is Chris Dickinson? He's going to beat. Come on! Take a look at that. Caught him from the crossbody position, able to pop him up in a fireman's carry, and with ease depositing Shurman on the mat. And you know what they say, the bigger they are, the harder they fall. You would think that Dickinson was in there with the lightweight, with the way that he's manhandled Shurman. Shurman once again on the receiving end, another one of those chest chops. So methodical is Chris Dickinson. Every time Shurman hits him with one of those clubbing blows, Dickinson was going to the midsection. That time instead, it looked like that slap might have knocked him out. Shurman crumbling to the mat, and instead of going for the pin, Dickinson once again not done. The amount of punishment being dished out, almost unprecedented. Things starting to get uncomfortable here. You see the other wrestlers sitting in silence. There's certainly a difference between trying to win the match and trying to permanently hurt your opponent. Obviously, Chris Dickinson with a point to prove. That kick right to the bridge in the nose. And I think that the referee might need to step in. It's up to his discretion, but Shurman out of the way of that kick. Connected with a spine buster. This is your chance. 1, 2. Still only good for a 2 count. One thing that may work to Shurman's favor in this match is his endurance. Again, Chris Dickinson having not competed regularly for almost 2 years, plus the amount of weight that he has added. Regardless of the fact that whether or not it's muscle, I mean, the more weight you carry, the more difficult it is to keep up your conditioning. But Dickinson with a counter right there, rolling through. And he's got both arms trapped. There's going to be no way for Mark Shurman to escape this hold. He better give up before Dickinson does some serious damage. Shurman barely holding on right here. Looking over the ropes. Give Shurman credit, strong enough to roll Dickinson off. Now trying to go for that backslide. Perhaps a little bit too tall for this exchange to work. And Dickinson taking him down with that ace crusher. That's a move out of Eric Corvis' playbook. And now looking to take a page out of Beyond Wrestling original J-Block's playbook. Oh, just driving Shurman down with the Brain Eater. 1, 2, 3. All of Shurman's weight being driven down, the point of impact on the head and the neck as we take another look at the Brain Eater. And if there's any question as to whether or not Chris Dickinson's back, certainly making a statement. You see TJ Marconi now standing up, and his eyes have not moved away from Dickinson.
What's your problem?
Dickinson asking Marconi what his problem is. He knows damn well what the problem is. Once again, things starting to get a little bit uncomfortable here. And Dickinson charging into all the wrestlers. He's out of his mind. Attacking one of the newcomers that we have here this weekend. And Marconi responding, doing the right thing. And pulling Dickinson off. Now just trying to subdue him. I don't think that anybody wants to get involved. Look, Dickinson just catching him with a shot to the head. Now trying to take him down with that headlock. Dickinson saying enough is enough. Now some of the other wrestlers trying to restrain him. Tell you what, it's been a long time since we've seen a fight like this break out. And there we see Corvis not getting his hands dirty. The other wrestlers trying to break things up. Marconi comes diving in again. Things are really getting out of control here at All Killer. Fans Beyond Wrestling, it's main event time here, All Killer Episode 6. Thanks for joining us. If for whatever reason you're watching this episode and don't already, please make sure to subscribe to youtube.com/beyondwrestling. Like this video. Hey, leave a comment. Let us know what your favorite match from All Killer Episode 6 is. We certainly appreciate all the support. If you want to support Beyond Wrestling financially, head over to our official website, lookmonofans.com. You can pick up Beyond Wrestling t-shirts as well as DVDs of our live events. We've got a big-time first ever matchup here in Beyond Wrestling. Jaka and Eric Corvis going to be going one-on-one. And two of the highest ranking members of the Beyond Wrestling roster, Eric Corvis, not waiting for Jaka to take off that cloak. And I do want to apologize for the behavior of Chris Dickinson and TJ Marconi, as we saw moments ago. Obviously, as you can tell in the difference of time, took a little bit longer than we had honestly expected to get things settled after that fight. And speaking of a fight, that's what we're in for right here, a big fight between Jaka and Eric Corvis. Both of these men victorious the last episode of All Killer. Of course, both of them gunning towards that #1 spot, currently held by Mark Angel. Of course, Mark Angel losing to Usurper. And ever since Mark Angel has lost his partners in the Academy of Anatomy, he's been really struggling to find himself. Eric Corvis, a number of shots to Jaka. We've seen how the thick skull has worked to his advantage, but you've got to think that even he can only take so many blows to the head. Now those taped fingers, a shot to the neck, going for that lateral press. Referee doing a good job making sure to get in a position to make sure both those shoulders were down to the mat. And now Jaka with a series of forearms. Trying to build momentum off the ropes. Corvis looking for that hip toss. And Jaka instead going for that backslide. Corvis with the counter. I think Jaka scared him right there.
You think that's funny?
Now Corvis setting the ropes. And Jaka with some signature offense, that belly-to-belly suplex. There we see Jaka bleeding from the nose already. Corvis really catching him. The opening exchange of this matchup, some of the blood spilling onto his opponent. Corvis made a mistake trying to go to the floor. Looking to get that separation because Jaka's taking the fight to him. And now the Savage just going to the face. And with so much on the line in this match. Now just a headbutt, sizing him up. Just driving his forehead to the back of Eric Corvis. Of course, Eric Corvis feels like he's been slighted since he's made his return to Beyond Wrestling in the past couple months after taking a hiatus to heal some nagging injuries. Really the height of it when Danny Only tried to stab Corvis at the Double Trouble live event. Of course, we haven't seen or heard from any of the members of Pit Boss's version of the Doom Patrol. Haven't heard or seen from the Pit Boss, Strychnine. Of course, Danny Only sending us those cryptic videos from Afghanistan. Matthew Justice returning only once in a losing effort to Jaka at the All Aboard live event, which you can pick up on DVD at LookMondoFans.com. And that was really when we saw that change in attitude out of Corvis. It was Corvis versus Aaron Epic one-on-one. And as soon as Corvis no longer had the upper hand, somebody jumped in the ring and attacked Aaron Epic, revealing himself to be Mike West. Oh! Corvis creating offense out of nowhere. Slamming Jaka down face first to the mat. And look at that, just turning himself into a cannonball, that inverted senton, finding the mark. And Jaka's in trouble. Not entirely sure if I understand what exactly that it is that Corvis feels that Beyond Wrestling owes him. I mean, granted, he has done so much, introduced so many wrestlers to Beyond Wrestling, but I'm not sure what he anticipates, what he expects to accomplish with this change in attitude. Certainly not afraid to take a shortcut if it means maintaining control in this match. For so long, Corvis almost in that role of a gatekeeper, not content with that. I mean, sure, there's been many competitors on the Beyond Wrestling roster that have spent less time, and you could argue have gotten more out of the project. I mean, look at somebody like Aaron Epic. Look at somebody like ACH. Their performances in the tournament for tomorrow last year, breaking them out to a worldwide audience. And just like Dickinson in his absence, Corvis coming back to a very different Beyond Wrestling.
That's how you feed the beast. You take away his ability.
Corvis thinks that he has a strategy set right here by targeting the eyes of Jaka, saying that he's trying to take away his vision. I mean, Jaka, we've seen very accurate with his strikes so far in the match. Obviously, if you can't see your opponent, it's going to be much harder to hit him. Although Jaka not having too much trouble right there. Coming at Corvis both sides. As soon as he caught him with that kick, Corvis responded with that shoulder. Now Jaka trying to swing in position for that face buster. Corvis had this scouted. Trying to go for soul food. Jaka rolling him out of the way. As Corvis springs up to his feet, gets taken down with that clothesline. Jaka taking in the moment. Now concentrating once again on Corvis. Corvis kicks out. A vow of silence from Jaka, letting his actions do the talking for him until he's the #1 ranked wrestler in Beyond Wrestling. For so long, he was unable to move up the ranks because of his affiliation with Chris Dickinson, with the Doom Patrol. I mean, Chris Dickinson obviously proving earlier today, even without allies, he's just as destructive as ever. Just as destructive as ever. But Jaka's really got into his groove here as a competitor. Now going to the mouth of Corvis. Looked like he pulled something out. He pulled out the gum. I don't think that Jaka knows what to make of this. Jaka not pleased with the taste. Now Jaka grabbing the foot of Corvis, trying to pull away from the ropes, able to apply that waist lock. Corvis with a standing switch, but that O'Connor roll. Ooh, and set hard to the floor. A lot of momentum behind that kick out. Of course, I mentioned the conditioning of Chris Dickinson in the previous match. Jaka, someone else who's also gaining considerable amount of size, not having trouble flying, although I guess it's pretty hard to do when Corvis is right there putting a steel cable to your throat. Now springboarding himself in with that leg drop. Great maneuver out of Corvis. And that's why it's so disappointing to see him taking those shortcuts. Going for the eyes, going for the throat. Breaking before he gets disqualified. Oh, just driving that knee right to the face of Jaka. Corvis going to pick him up. Jaka's trying to get the jaws of the Jaguar on. Corvis with a little wishbone action and then dive it through with that elbow. You're going to think that Corvis is not going to want to find himself in that position. We saw him eyeballing that scarf. Now introducing it just to choke Jaka. I mean, blatant, right in front of the ref. Honestly, the ref shouldn't even be counting the 5 for that. That should be a disqualification. That's an illegal object, whether or not it was worn to the ring. Jaka not able to build any momentum. Corvis with a series of jawbreakers. That spinning back fist. Misses with the kick. Now trying to elevate Jaka for that inverted atomic drop. Jaka's able to free himself. As Corvis comes charging in, take it down with that signature choke bomb. You can tell he's been effective in his offense so far. Jaka typically immediately following that up with a pin. Instead having to get over to Corvis, who instead of instead of expending the energy, gets his foot to that bottom rope. Now Jaka biting away at the hand and the arm of Corvis.
He's an animal.
You hear Corvis saying that he's an animal.
He's an animal.
And an animal he may be, but he is so precise in that ring. Catching the feet. Connected with the headbutt and a kick. Now looking to target Corvis on the outside, perhaps going to be driving those 5 fingers into the temple, but Corvis is out of the way, catching him with that pendulum-style kick, again using the ropes to his advantage to send Jaka to the floor. As Corvis tries coming in with that kick, he gets his leg swept out from underneath him. Back first to the apron. And from this position, Jaka with a series of headbutts. Corvis again going for the eyes. And now Jaka with a signature combo. And a number of shots before once again going back to the face and the eyes. These guys have gone tit for tat in that regard. I can't say that I endorse that kind of behavior. But once you open that can of worms, where do you draw the line? Jaka's starting to get a little bit frustrated here. Perhaps going to be looking for that choke bomb once again. This time maybe right into the pin. Yep, that's what he's going for. Now instead looking for that German suplex. Oh! And Corvis holding on to the official, popping Jaka up. Oh, and that deadlift style throw. And that was a nasty angle for Jaka to come down. Take another look at that as he was favoring his lower extremities. Popped right up into position. Just getting dumped to the canvas. That had to take a lot out of Corvis to be able to position him like that. Believe it or not, looks like Jaka's going to be getting to his feet first. But by bringing himself to the corner, he's trapped. A scintillating chop out of Corvis. I mean, Corvis is one of the very best in Beyond Wrestling for such a long period of time. Corvis was hoping for Jaka to come in so he could catch him again. Jaka had it scouted out. Corvis all tied up in the ropes. Oh, gets taken down. That face buster. And Jaka, very smart to be able to create offense from an unorthodox position. We saw the kick and the chop. And Corvis coming down at a nasty angle. Still only good for a 2 count, though. Again, this is a first-time encounter between Jaka and Eric Corvis. They've had a number of run-ins in the past, going back to the days of the Doom Patrol. But this is, believe it or not, the first time singles encounter. Both of these competitors, again, know each other so well. Now Corvis going to the bare feet. Jaka trying to go for the trapezius hold. Corvis having to fight him off. Now Corvis trying to go for that crusher, gets taken down. With the knee driven right between the shoulder blades. Oh, just sent into that corner. Nasty impact into the buckles. I think that Corvis might have caught Jaka in the face with his boot on the way down. Jaka certainly not anticipating that. And look at Corvis. Look at the position of his arm, holding onto the rope, just on instinct alone. Jaka finally able to break the hold by having to bite him, but didn't want to waste too much more time, and as a result, Corvis still close to the far ropes. Now Jaka looking to go for the Jaws of the Jaguar submission hold. That doubly effective sleeper hold that he likes to utilize. Corvis had that scouted. Now look at the strength of Corvis, that trapper keeper style shoulder breaker. And if you can take away the arm of Jaka, it's going to make it a lot more difficult for him to connect with those strikes with that taped finger. Corvis might be hurt right here, though. Having to use the referee to bring himself back up to his feet. Now rolling him over. way, way, way too cocky. The old Corvis would not have made a mistake like that. I can guarantee it. Obviously, you've got a lot of guys with chips on their shoulders coming into this all-killer taping with something to prove. We saw it with JT Dunn. We saw it with Sugar Dunkerton. We saw it with Chris Dickinson. Now we're seeing it with Eric Corvis and Jaka. But you can't forget what brought you to the dance. I think Corvis is going to be looking to trap those arms once again. Perhaps going to be going for that backbreaker variation, or maybe even the Trapper Keeper Bomb to dump Jaka on his head. And now as Corvis thought he had him in a pin, Jaka actually put himself in a position to choke him out. And Corvis having to give it up. Corvis not wanting to be passed out, so instead tapping out. Figuratively speaking, of course, both of those arms trapped. You can tell once that lock was applied 100%, Corvis knew quickly that he had no way to get out. So we saw the counter with the sunset flip, but from there, Jaka right in position, and it was only a matter of seconds before the referee called this one. Jaka picking up a big victory, 1 point closer to the #1 ranked Mark Angel. Of course, we know that Corvis is going to be going one-on-one with Aaron Epic at the Charade Charity Chowdown in a 2-out-of-3 falls, becoming Aaron Epic's specialty. As Jaka's looking to celebrate his victory, Corvis calls over to him. Corvis looking to give him his scarf back. The old Corvis would be looking to shake hands right now, and instead, Eric Corvis spitting in it and rubbing it in his face. Absolutely reprehensible. What a sore loser. Shouldn't be embarrassed in that match, even in defeat. Could have gone either way. But it's Jaka that's victorious here at All Killer, Episode 6.